massive stepping stones on this Bitcoin daily chart. And I just want to say, this move that's happening in crypto right now is actually, this move is nothing. This is nothing compared to what we're about to see. I think, this is my perspective, in the coming parabolic bull run. Everybody, we're going to dive into Bitcoin charts. We're going to dive into total crypto market cap charts. We're going to dive into Bitcoin dominance charts. So please hit the subscribe, hit the like on your way in. I appreciate your support so much. I want to start with a couple things before we dive into all of these charts. I saw this post. This was a really good post in terms of global M2 money supply reaching $95 trillion. This is a total amount of money in circulation across economies. So Bitcoin and global M2 money supply correlation. This is what I want to just keep an eye on. For every 10% increase in global M2 money supply, Bitcoin pumps 90%. Since July, M2 supply is up 5%, but Bitcoin is down 10%. A reversal is in the cards. And this is really what this chart is looking like. And by the way, he says September has historically been Bitcoin's worst performing month, which means we can expect a few more weeks of chop before a sentiment shift, which I agree with. But just look at this chart. You see that global M2 chart in green at the bottom, and you can see the correlation to Bitcoin. Something explosive is getting ready to happen here. And playing into the story is a decrease in the rates. And what is that going to do? Decrease in interest rates, Fed tomorrow. It's going to cause people, especially on the macro, on the zoomed out, it's going to cause people to put their money to work. That's what it's going to cause people to do. They're not going to leave it sitting in savings if rates are going down. They're going to borrow to start a business, to buy a house. M2 money supply is going to continue increasing on the macro and in the short to midterm. So everybody, what is this chart going to do? The Bitcoin chart, historically, likely, especially with where we are in the cycle. These things coming together, I'm telling you. And I just posted this a little bit ago. Crypto is about to explode. October is close. So October is close. We know if we look at this chart, this green October, historically, look, there's 2 red months historically, but most of the time green. There's no guarantee it's going to be green, but with how things are shaping up right now, especially if there's going to be a couple more weeks of choppiness because of the shorter term news with the rate cuts and how people are reacting, there's still a lot of fear in the markets. October's setting up to look pretty good. Elections are near. Rate cuts tomorrow, the dollar falling, more ETFs approaching, institutions pouring in. Global M2 money supply increasing. We just looked at this. Post-Bitcoin halving parabolic run approaches. And that's the other thing we're not even looking at. The very fact, if you zoom out, let's look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. This chart is crazy to see right now. So historically, and I marked this chart, this purple line for a reason on all of these charts because this is altcoin season historically. You can see we're still a little bit away. We're not there yet, but these purple lines, right around 200 some days post Bitcoin halving, the white lines, Bitcoin dominance falls. But even right now, and you can go back even 2 cycles ago, Bitcoin dominance falling right around this purple line, 200 some days post Bitcoin halving. We're getting close. But just look at this move to the lower high Fibonacci. This is something we've talked a lot about. So the last swing high to swing low on the Bitcoin dominance chart, it's that green area, the retracement to this lower high resistance. That is a move that we saw in the last cycle from this first swing high to falling off that cliff. You can see that lower high green Fibonacci on the Bitcoin chart. So that even is approaching. And I don't know. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to do what it did in previous cycles or in the last cycle and just right there is when it's going to reverse. Maybe we get into it a little bit more, then we reverse. Maybe it doesn't even get to this area. But either way, look at the repetition on this chart. Even this 20-month moving average crossing above the 50-month moving average, the green above the blue. This time last cycle, this was basically the same type of move that was happening. So it's going to be very interesting to watch this chart if you're an altcoin holder because this could be altcoin season shaping up on this chart. I say it a lot. I know. It's not a guarantee. Let's go look at total crypto market cap chart. So on this chart, the question is this: what part of the cycle are we at? What part of the cycle are we at? And the reason I'm asking that question is because if we look at this this total crypto market cap chart. And actually, if we look at the Bitcoin chart, I want to look at the Bitcoin weekly chart. And it really is the same as the total crypto market cap chart in terms of what we're looking at. But the reason I'm asking that question is, where are we? You see this crazy swing high and then the revisit to the 50-week moving average right here, right? We had a very similar thing last cycle. Nice bull market parabolic run falling to the 50-week moving average. It's very easy to look at that move and be like, oh, wow, this is so similar. Even if you look at the MACD here, very similar, right? This move on the MACD, move on the MACD. And then what did Bitcoin do next? Bitcoin put this one more swing high to end the bull market, right? The reason I'm asking what part of the cycle are we in is because if you look at Bitcoin, not just this move, right? But we look at this move. This was pre-Bitcoin halving, the last Bitcoin halving, 2020 Bitcoin halving, to the 50. And then obviously we had COVID came into play. And then we had the real parabolic bull run. So are we more in a move like this, or are we more in a move like this? That's the question. And I can't help to answer that question. And you can actually go look at like something like the stock RSI. Look at the stock RSI. Similar in all of these environments. Right now, oversold for quite some time. And then this mid bull run retracement. And then here's that 2019 move, all oversold for quite some time. But if you go to the total crypto market cap chart, this is what I just can't stop thinking about in terms of really answering the question, where are we in this cycle? Well, look at everything we've been tracking. Look at even the macroeconomic data that's coming into play and the timing of this. But this is where we are. We're right here in terms of timing of these cycles. And this is going back multiple cycles all the way back to here. And to really just give a very, very simple explanation of it, from the 2016 halving to all-time high for total crypto market cap, it was 530 some days to this swing high. And then the 2020 halving to all-time high, it was 500 some days, 530 some days or so to all-time high. Look where 500 some days post 2024 halving is. It's all the way over here. Next year, 2025, the end of 2025, October 2025. Right now, we're not 500 some days post Bitcoin halving. We're like 100 some days post Bitcoin halving. We've not even entered these areas, right? And then when we do look at all of the other things in terms of oscillators, I talk about this one all the time. I think this is a really key point to make. Bitcoin and total crypto market cap, they've not been overbought post the 2024 halving yet. And every parabolic bull run, that's where we've been. And then you overlay all of these things to the Bitcoin charts, the total crypto market cap charts. And guess what? Now we really have a timing for a parabolic bull run. I want to look at the Bitcoin charts on the zoomed in because it's a really good roadmap on the short term. To give you an idea right now, 20-day moving average broken, 50-day moving average broken once again. The next up is a short-term holder cost basis area. And this is something we've been talking about. Short-term holder realized price. Look at this. Historically, when we see Bitcoin start breaking above that, and really just Bitcoin price seeing higher highs and higher lows above that, that's bull environment. And you can just see if we zoom in on this chart, you can see Bitcoin has just been very much consolidating right here. Even this is back in May, right? So this is quite some time of just wrapping around that orange line, the short-term holder realized price line. And you can see where it is right now, $61,800 or so, and Bitcoin price. And this is not updated. This is like a day old, but you can see Bitcoin very much approaching that gold orange line, right? Right now, Bitcoin on the daily, $61,200. We're getting there. And that's the next hurdle on the short term for Bitcoin. And then we obviously have the 200-day moving average. But what we talked about in a video not too long ago was now's the time for the move to happen for Bitcoin to get to this upper trend line. And there are a lot of things in play on the macro, right? Concerning this exact pattern, $80,000 to $90,000 breakout to the upside is the next leg up. But there are other things in play if we really zoom out on a Bitcoin weekly chart in terms of what Bitcoin can do. You know, there's this inverse head and shoulders in play on the macro, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder set up. There's that in play. So this bull run, even from a structure standpoint, is very set, and it really does all start on this daily chart. But remember, where we are in this falling, broadening wedge, it's been like half a year of consolidation. The reason why this move is so meaningful is because when you go to a weekly chart, you have the entire Bitcoin oscillators finally have cooled down. That's what this journey has been. And now that they are cooled down, we can start getting a momentum shift. The move to break out to the upside starts to make more sense when you have a weekly oscillator like the MACD histogram here and those red bars starting to shift to the upside. The move on the shorter term, when we have the stock RSI being so oversold for so long and starting to shift to the upside. This means on the short term, when we look at a Bitcoin daily chart, now the move is way more ready to break to the upside than it was even back here when it was really in the middle of all of that consolidation back in June or so. So a lot of things are just coming together on these charts, on the total crypto market cap charts, for altcoins, for Bitcoin. Be careful. We still have a couple weeks of September left. We have the rate cuts tomorrow. It can be incredibly choppy. There can be a lot of fear in the markets on the short term. This entire chart could just crash back down. And it would make a lot of sense because short-term fear, it's so volatile, everybody. But all this macro data that we're putting onto these charts, I think we're just getting started. So these are my thoughts today. A lot going on in crypto markets. Let me know your thoughts. Please hit the subscribe, hit the like. I appreciate all of your support. Have an awesome day, and God bless.